I'm always delighted to be with Saul News. This has been such a leader in the conservative movement and the Republican Party.
Welcome to the Saul's Newsstand News Rewind for January 12, 2024. The Daily Caller reports, CNN host can't get a word in as GOP representative reminds her of Dem border failures. A CNN host could barely get a word in as New York Republican Representative Anthony D'Esposito reminded her of Democrats' failures to control the border.
Administration
but
and the Democrats have failed
non-starters.
to do. We are setting records. We are setting records where numbers are coming across our southern border that we've never seen before. There have been arguments that there's an immigration issue for the last 50 years. Absolutely there has. But since Joe Biden has taken office, we have seen record numbers of people come across the southern border. We have seen Customs and Border Patrol agents who have flat out said we do not have operational control of our southern border, that in fact cartels have operational control of our southern border.
And you are not proposing to give them any more resources at legal points of entry. And
there absolutely were resources in this secure the border.
Congressman, you have a White House that is in a Democratic White House that is in a unusual situation of actually being ready to negotiate. To change drastically.
Being ready to negotiate. It's been 220 days.
May I please finish my sentence? May I finish my sentence?
Joe Biden has been asleep
Congressman,
at the wheel.
may I finish my sentence?
House Republicans passed H.R. 2, known as the Secure the Border Act in May, which in part orders the construction of the border wall and reforms asylum policies. Nearly 380,000 illegal immigrants have been encountered at the border during fiscal year 2024, which started on October 1st. Republican states have tried to curb the flow of illegal immigrants, with Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott signing a law that would make illegal entry into Texas a misdemeanor. The Biden administration filed a suit against Texas for the policy. The Washington Examiner reports, Mayorkas' impeachment push met with cool reception by Senate GOP. House Republicans appear ready to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas over what they say is his failure to enforce the country's immigration laws. But many of the Republican senators who would play jury to those charges are cool to the impeachment push. Within the ranks of the Senate GOP conference, there is a sense that the House's anger is misplaced. The crisis at the southern border is unacceptable, they say, but culpability lies with the man who gives Mayorkas his orders, President Joe Biden. Senator Kevin Cramer, a Republican from North Dakota, summed up the sentiment by saying, quote, I think the idea of impeaching cabinet secretaries who can be fired by the president is just sort of a wasted effort altogether. I think impeachments should be reserved for people who don't have a boss. And finally, CBS News reports, U.S. inflation higher than expected in December as food and housing prices run hot. Higher rents and food prices boosted overall U.S. inflation in December, a sign that the Federal Reserve's drive to slow inflation to its 2% target may be a bumpy one. Overall, inflation edged higher last month, putting it much further above the Fed's 2% target. The December U.S. jobs report that was issued last week contained some cautionary news for the Fed. Average hourly wages rose 4.1% from a year earlier, up slightly from 4% in November. And 667,000 people left the workforce, reducing the proportion of adults who either have a job or are looking for one to 62.5%, the lowest level since February. And that concludes your Saul's Newsstand News Rewind for January the 12th, 2024. For more political news faster, visit saulsnews.com.